Well, good morning. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report, where we call out the nonsense, cut through the noise, and deliver bold, independent truth. Today's episode is one that hits every American right where it counts. Paycheck. This one, we're going to call this one Keep 100% of Your Pay. The case for real tax reform. Now, tonight, as this goes on, we're recording this at about 1 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. And we're still looking at X and seeing the battling going on behind the big, beautiful bill. Now, the reality is that the big, beautiful bill is about spending. It just is. And when you talk about spending in DC, the four-letter word or five-letter word taxes, didn't think that out, did I? The five-letter word taxes cannot be far behind. And we're talking about spending in Washington, D.C. We're always talking about something that is perennially, annually out of control. And the way to get it under control is to stop this incredible, endless amount of money that they seem to be, or think they're able to garner every year. So we're going to do this series. And I got to ask you a question. You ever wondered what it would be like to actually get to keep everything you've earned? Remember your first real paycheck? You were so happy on that Friday or that Thursday when you got it, and you looked at it and you saw the gross amount and went, all right, all right. And then you started looking at deductions. And this is before you had deductions for maybe your car payment or something else on there. You started looking at deduction and you went, what the hell is FICA? FICA, no one told me about FICA. And why did I give them my money? Why did you give this FICA thing my money? And Social Security. And then at the end, and as to add insult to injury, once every year, they go, yeah, you paid some income tax, but we want to see if you owe any more. What? I didn't want to pay you the first stuff, and you took it from me before I could stop you. So why didn't you just take all of it? All that you were going to need? Why are we going through this process? Right? So you've wondered about what it'd be like to get your check and go, all righty, number of hours worked times dollars per hour. It's right here. Awesome. Let's continue with life. Imagine no IRS clawbacks, no payroll tax skim, no April panic. Just your money in your hands. So today we're going to lay it all out. Who really pays the taxes in this country? What options are to fix the mess? And why it's time to stop pretending that the current system works. Now, some people who don't agree with what we do and what we say here, you guys just bear with me for a minute. So let's start with a little thought experiment. Imagine if you would just tax every U.S. billionaire in oblivion, wiped out their entire net worth. Elon, Bezos, Gates, Zuckerberg, the whole gang. Do you know how long that would fund the federal government? Less than a year. Less than a year. According to recent estimates, the total wealth of U.S. billionaires sits around $5.8 trillion. But the federal government's burning through over $6.5 trillion every 12 months. Imagine the combined wealth of all the US billionaires is $5.8 trillion. And the federal government is burning through $6.5 trillion every year, every 12 months. So even if we liquidated all the billionaires' assets, sold all their jets, their cars, their mansions, their boats, their companies, everything, we'd be flat broke again before Christmas. Not exactly a long-term plan, right? So here's what the progressive mob doesn't want to admit. Most billionaires didn't get rich selling snake oil. They built things that we actually use: Amazon, Microsoft, SpaceX, Apple, Google. Whether you like them or not, they have revolutionized commerce, computing, medicine, and communication. They employ millions of people. Now, you don't have to like how the sausage is made, but you cannot deny that we all eat it. And pretending that we can fund an entire bloated federal bureaucracy just by taxing the rich is freaking delusional. All right. Now, what we do need to do is we need to get honest about who is really footing the bill in this country. Who is fitting the bill? Federal income tax. Let's talk about that. The top 10% of earners in the country, they pay over 70% of all income taxes. The top 10% of earners pay over 70% of all income tax. So you got 100 people. 100 people. 10 of them here pay not just 10% of the tax, they pay almost 70% of the tax. Wow. That's income taxes. Now, I broke it down because I thought that there were three kind of taxes that we're all getting hit with. We're getting hit with first federal income tax and state income tax. I don't have any state income tax. I live in I live in Florida, so no state income tax here. And we will fight it with everything we have left in our body. We will fight a state income tax. There's property taxes though. Property tax. You often hear that property taxes are through the roof, and the whole concept of property taxes seems wrong. Let's say you and your wife, you buy a house, and you get a mortgage and you scrape and you save and you don't go on vacations and you don't buy new cars and you don't get clothes all the time and you don't send your kid. I mean, you don't buy your kids the nicest tennis shoes all the time or the latest game systems. I mean, you really work it. And in 15 years, you've paid your house off. You own it free and clear. But do you? Do you? As long as you were paying your mortgage, part of your mortgage payment was probably going to your property taxes. But now your mortgage is done and you have the deed to your house and it's got your name on it. But a bill comes every year. That bill may be a few $100s or that bill may be a few $1,000s. It's property taxes. It's because you own this property or you and the bank own that property or you are buying that property or whatever they have to use, whatever verbiage they have to use, you owe your county X number of dollars. And if you decide, screw you, I'm not paying you, they will be selling your house on the courthouse steps for pennies on the dollar. What they do in a lot of places, I think it's sicker than that. What they do is they have these tax bonds or tax whatever, and then people can bid on them. People can bid on your tax bill, and if they pay a portion of it or some of it, then they win your house. It's like gambling, and then they win your house. Now, wait a minute. You paid your mortgage. You saved all those years to pay your mortgage. But property taxes, they mostly hit suburban and upper middle income homeowners. Sales taxes are regressive by nature. They hit the working class and the poor the hardest because they spend a bigger share of their income. So while socialists are chanting "eat the rich," the reality is that the average middle class American is already being slow roasted by taxes at every damn level: federal, state, local, hidden, and direct. If you're working for a living, owning a home, raising a family, or trying to save, you're the golden goose getting plucked every day. All right, let's break down the system that we're currently stuck with. This progressive income tax system. I'm going to go over the pros and the cons. I'm trying to be fair, kind of. It's been in place for over a century, since 1913. Politicians love it because it sounds so fair. It allows targeted credits and deductions, charity, mortgage interest, childcare. That's a pro because it sounds lovely. The cons are it's unbelievably complex. Over 70,000 pages of IRS code. 70,000. There's no way that you and I navigate this alone. It has sprung out a whole cottage industry of tax lawyers and tax accountants, right? Who only deal with taxes, personal taxes, business taxes, on and on. The entire industry, of course, billions of dollars. Investments built around avoiding taxes. Why? Because they've dug into these 70,000 pages that we can't really, let's be honest. You got to go to work. You got to go to work this afternoon. You got to go to work this morning. You don't have time to read over 70,000 pages of IRS code. You don't. So whatever it says, you just do. Now, some of the cons of this that wait a minute. It's unbelievably complex. It rewards people who can't afford good tax lawyers. High earners get punished. Loopholes favor the connected, people who know. It kills productivity. Why work more if Uncle Sam's just going to take more? Why bother? Don't forget, you spend dozens of hours and hundreds of dollars every year just trying to comply. It's not freedom. That's coercion with paperwork. Now, we're going to talk about two other systems that we can talk about, that we should be at least batting back and forth. Both of them better than the one we have now. One of the tax systems is the flat tax. That's one rate. Now, you might remember when Herman Cain was running for president, he mentioned his 999 plan, which there seemed to be a lot of people who were too stupid to figure that out. His idea was that there would be a 9% income tax and a 9% corporate tax. There'd be three, and in all the three areas, there would just be not. It would all just be 9%. It'd be a little less than a tithe, and all the other taxes would go away. One of the pros is that it's one rate. That's it. No brackets, no loopholes. is transparent and predictable. The whole thing could, your whole IRS return could be done on the back of an index card. How much you made multiplied by 0.09. Done. Now, one of the cons is that it could increase the tax burden on lower earners if there's no base exemption. Now, here's the deal: you have to say, do we need more taxes or do we need more taxpayers? Yes, it's a burden for people who never pay taxes. This is something that people on the right have to understand. When we're having these conversations, there are a lot of people who don't give a rat's ass because they don't pay taxes anyway. That they fill out the paperwork to get their refund. They go to H&R Block so they can get their refund. They stop by the kiosk in the Walmart when they get the EBT, and they go in there and they fill out the paperwork so they can get their refund right away. Get that rapid refund. And they haven't paid a dime, which is again another problem of the system we have now. So them paying anything will be seen as a con. All right. And so it lacks the quote progressive component that some voters demand. And it's a hard political sell because we've already seen it try to be sold and people don't get it. Bureaucrats don't want simplicity. But make no mistake, flat tax means fairness in treatment, not equality in income and outcomes. That's a feature, not a bug. Let's talk about the next one. Fair tax, which is basically a sales tax plus prebate. That's where it gets weird for me, but anyway. So I think this is the thing. Now, the fair tax is a plan that Mike Huckabee. So we find all these presidential candidates that in the past 20 years that have brought these ideas to the fore. But because the bureaucrats, the swamp, loves the pit they're playing in, push aside these things. They damn near destroyed Herman Cain. And they just disregarded Mike Huckabee. Some of you discarded Mike Huckabee because he was a Baptist, because he's a Baptist preacher, and he's a hell of a bass player. Anyway, so this one here, the fair tax, I think this is a game changer. Now, a lot of people have problems with it, and that's fine, but we need to be having this discussion for sure. The fair tax replaces all federal income and payroll taxes, all of them, with one single national sales tax. So instead of taxing your income, the government taxes your spending. So you keep 100, that's 100% of your paycheck. You only pay tax when you choose to consume, when you choose to go out and buy some delicious, what kind of bubbly is this? Blueberry pomegranate. Am I bougie because I like this? I really like it. So you keep 100% of your paycheck. Prebate. That's where we talk about it. So to offset the tax on essentials, because when I go to buy my bubbly, instead of I'm going to Sam's Club, instead of it being $8 or $7 or $4 or whatever it is, it's going to be $8 now. It's going to be a lot more expensive because it's going to have say maybe a 20 or 25% tax on it. So it's going to be expensive. Now the prebate is to offset the tax on essentials. Every legal household receives, not individual, household receives a prebate, a cash rebate based on poverty level spending. Let me give you an example. So y'all can write this down. for a single adult at a $15,000 poverty level, which is incredible. If you think about the world, that $15,000 would be a year would be poverty for us. And with a 23% sales tax rate, we'll try to get real numbers in here. The prebate would end up being $287.50 a month. You get a check from government for $287.50 a month to cover the essential. That would help for the increase in my bubbly, because I Willie needs his bubbly. Other pros. Number one pro for me: no more IRS. Gone. It isn't like that, it isn't like they've been around forever. There's no IRS in the Constitution. When people, when the left says there's nothing about abortion in the Constitution, nothing about the IRS in the Constitution either. Nothing about the Federal Reserve in the Constitution either. There's nothing about the Department of Education in the Constitution, or the EPA, or the Department of Energy. They're not in the Constitution either. So why are you wrapping your arms around the IRS? There would be no tax on earnings on what you make. The company that you work for would simply write you a check or deposit money into your account based on the dollar per hour that you agreed to and the time you worked. There'd be no tax on savings or investments. So if you had a 401k and you need to pull some money out, or any other investment tools that you're afraid to pull money out of now because you're going to take this big tax hit, not with a fair tax. Those taxes are gone. If you need your money, get your money. Illegal immigrants, tourists, and cash earners still pay taxes when they spend. The prebate protects the poor. Here's some cons. It's regressive without the prebate. Got to have the prebate portion. And there will be some sticker shock at the register. Like I said, your case, my case of bubbly, or my 8-pack of bubbly, or 24-pack of bubbly. I got a 24-pack of bubbly, right? Yeah. Okay. And I think it's usually like, I don't know, $9, maybe $8 would be maybe $15. It'd be a lot more expensive. But I'd have all my paycheck in my pocket. I'd have the money. The transition, anytime we'd have a major transition from what we have now to anything else, whether it's fair or flat or whatever, there would be some trouble in the transition. And we would need an airtight repeal of the income tax to avoid double taxation. It would have to be so airtight. There has to be a clause in that law that says that Congress couldn't even consider an income tax until 2275. That's 250 years from now. It would have to be just like that. Doesn't seem like it would be too hard to do. Okay. Now I know you've had a few seconds to start thinking about this, and you're going to do exactly what I did. You're going to go, okay, for me, who I may be still there earning and moving up the chain and getting raises here and there, and this may be cool for me. But what about people who are on fixed incomes, right? Seniors who are on fixed incomes, people who aren't going out there, getting a raise every 6 months or 8 months or whatever. People who are kind of stuck. Here's some upsides. No more tax on Social Security or your pension or retirement account withdrawals. So if you have that retirement account, you don't have to worry about if I take it out now, they're going to hit me with a bunch of taxes. Oh, it's your money. It's your damn money. It's your money. Take it out. Use it if you need it. Spend it if you need it. You earned it. It's yours. And of course, the prebate offsets the basics. Retirees will control when and how they get taxed. Yes. They'll do that simply by when you buy something. No. Here's a couple of challenges. Big purchases from savings still will trigger sales tax, right? So if you're buying a refrigerator, if you're buying a car, you're buying a stove, right? You're buying a big computer system or whatever, that will, from savings, that will still trigger a sales tax. Medical expenses could spike if they're not exempted, right? Prebate needs to adjust annually. This is some of the weird stuff with this. With inflation or fixed income, or the fixed incomes will fall behind. So yes, a fair tax can work for seniors, but only with smart implementation and strong protections. And what scares me is that you have to be smart. Do we have anybody smart there? Anybody? Bueller? Bueller? But imagine that first Friday, that freaky Friday, where people are walking out. It used to be cool because you'd walk out with a paper check from your job, but people are checking their devices and going, "Look at this, man! Look at this, man! Look at this! I got it all, baby! I got it all! I got it all!" And for most of us, it'd be the first time in our lives it happened that we got a full paycheck every time. No withholdings, no federal skim, no tax day dread. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about how many exemptions you have. You don't have to worry about that because the IRS ain't there. So you get to decide on when you pay taxes, not some bureaucrat. That means more money for groceries, gas, tuition, golf clubs. you know, you can't see it here, but I've got my flight yoke. I have a flight yoke system here because I do a lot of um, flight simulator stuff. Yeah, I get that. I get more toys. Have money for more toys. Because why? Because it's my damn money. So I'd have more freedom to save and invest, more personal control over my life. Because that's what real tax reform should look like. Okay, folks, this country wasn't founded on income taxes. Just the opposite. It was founded on liberty. And when someone tries to tell you we need more taxes to fix everything, you tell them we don't need to raise taxes. We need to stop wasting what we already take. And if we want to get serious about liberty, transparency, and growth, it starts with this. Let the American people keep 100% of their pay. Now, if you're somebody who says, well, I think I'm okay with paying taxes for this or that. Are you? Okay. Well, the government has an office of gifting that you could write a check for, and you could just send it to DC. Anything that if you think you're not paying your fair share, then take half your money and just send it to them if you want to. You can do that. Did you know that? You can. But I'm going to say it one more time. Let the American people keep 100% of their pay. Thank you for watching. This has been the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone tired of being overworked, overtaxed, and overlooked. We'll see you next time. Bye bye now.